Welcome to University Centre Peterborough Cover Letters module. Within this module we're going to explore how you can create a professional cover letter, knowing who to address it and the structure of the cover letter. This is what we're going to go through as an agenda item, and by the end of this you will know how to ensure that your layout is appropriate and the content is accurate. A cover letter can be described as a mechanism by which you can introduce yourself. It's not a duplication of a CV. The cover letter is simply a supporting document with your CV that will help highlight to an employer why you are an ideal candidate for this role. A cover letter is your opportunity to make a great first impression, and you'll want to motivate the reader to further read and engage with your CV. Generally, it's only 3 to 4 paragraphs long and on one side of A4. The body of the email or cover letter is then attached with your CV. Sometimes a videoed cover letter is requested, although this is rare. Not all job applications request a cover letter, but there is no guarantee. And if there isn't guidance provided, then we would suggest you always provide a cover letter or an email with your CV. The reason you've done your research about who to address this to is because you want to make sure that this is getting to the right person. Look at the job description or the job advert and it may have a specific person in there. It may include their email address or their contact details. If not, telephone the company, explain what position you're applying for and ask who you should address this to. And if they're not sure, ask if you can speak to a member of the HR team or the manager of that area who that role would come under. If that doesn't work, you can then look at the company website and identify the manager for that area or the HR department lead. If you're still struggling, have a look at LinkedIn or the social media pages. You might be able to find a staff list and then identify which person it is that's leading that department. And lastly, if you are still unsure of who to make the letter out to, find the most senior person possible within the company, which will normally be a CEO or a director. It is considered lazy nowadays to simply address the cover letter or the email of to whom it may concern or sir or madam. The expectation is that you will have done the work and identified who the person is. The easiest part with the cover letter is that there's actually a generally accepted content format. So what you're going to do is highlight in the first paragraph which role you're interested in and why. You're then going to explain why you've got the relevant skills and experiences and how they match the job description that's being promoted, and how your skills would match and benefit the employer. Then you're going to request an interview or do a call to action. Your cover letter is going to be brief, but it's going to emphasise how suitable you are for this role. Once written, you're going to read through it, cut out any unnecessary words and sentences so that it's as concise as possible, and you're not going to repeat anything that's on your CV. Let's look at the content in more detail. So in paragraph 1, we're looking at explaining why you're writing this. You want to highlight what position you're applying for, where you saw it advertised, and when you're available to start. You might want to consider any extra information you want to add in here to show that you've researched the employer, and examples are provided in the Canvas and the PDF guide. The second paragraph will explain why you're suitable for this role, what's attracted you to this type of work, and why you're interested in working for this company. What you can also offer that organisation. It's not a copy of your CV. You want to be able to support your statements with examples. And again, examples of this are in the Canvas and the PDF page. In paragraph 3, this is where we're going to look at your relevant experience and how your skills really do match that job description. You're going to summarise what your additional strengths are and how they can benefit the company. You might want to consider using power words, and these are highlighted in the Canvas page. And finally, paragraph 4 is reiterating how interested you are in the role and that you look forward to a personal interview. If you have a disability, you can choose when you inform the employer. You do not have to inform the employer. It is personal choice. The thing to bear in mind is, do you need the employer to make reasonable adjustments if you're shortlisted for interview? Therefore, you could inform the employer when you have been shortlisted rather than in your cover letter. Alternatively, you could actually inform them once you're employed, or choose never to inform them. You've got different options and at different points, so you can either put it in your cover letter or just before you attend the interview or assessment centre, or actually during the interview or assessment centre or after. There is additional support that we can provide you, so if you're not sure, please contact the Employer Hub. To finish off your letter or your email, you need to decide whether or not it's yours sincerely or yours faithfully. The ruling generally is, in England, if you have a name, you will use yours sincerely, but if you do not have a name, such as to the HR manager, you would use yours faithfully. You can see here that there is also American alternates, just so that you have got a choice depending on which country you're applying for or where the company is based. Once you're happy with the content, we need to go back through and do some checks. The first set of checks are called the easy read checks. Is the layout clean, clear, with white space? Does it make sure that you are matching the role that's being advertised? Is it clear and concise? Have you avoided bright paper or coloured text? Because if somebody has a reading difficulty, they may not be able to engage with your letter. Have you proofread for typos, spelling and grammar? And is the formatting consistent throughout your document? If you're doing a video cover letter, just check the background, the sound, the noise and the surroundings. In addition, make sure your CV is tailored to that role in that company. Many people will do what they call mass mail shots. They will send out the same CV and cover letter to numerous companies, and these tend to get thrown out immediately. Also ensure that you've actually attached your CV behind your cover letter if you're posting it, or as an attachment as an email or an upload. You can see that there's a letter layout format here that you can follow. And then there is a similar setup for email, just to help you as a guide. Note at the bottom of email that you again add your phone number and email address. It makes it quick reference for the employer to contact you. If you're doing a video cover letter, you may want to do a short script. And then this way, follow the advice that we've done with cover letters, have a practice, record it, re-record it and edit it as much as you need to. Just keep an eye on the sound, the appearance and your surroundings, but treat this as if it's an interview. Dress professionally and sound as clear and accurate as possible. The Canvas course and the PDF provide lots of extra examples for cover letters for you. But once you've sent your cover letter, you then want to follow it up. This demonstrates you using your initiative, that you have the confidence to be proactive. It also means that you're highlighting yourself to whoever is doing the shortlisting, so they develop a personal connection with you. Do not follow it up generally with an email. It's much more appropriate to follow it up with a phone call. This is because you get an opportunity to introduce yourself and ask the employer if they've got a few minutes, and you can verbally check if they've received the application. You want to be engaging and you want to be specific with your discussion, so highlighting key points that you've made. Be prepared to answer any questions, because at this point the employer may ask you something relating to the role. This will again develop this personal connection and hopefully that means you will get shortlisted. So we've gone through how to create a cover letter, and you should now know who to address it to and how to structure your cover letter. If you are a student, staff member, or a member of the alumni from University Centre Peterborough, you can contact us for extra support on employerhub@peterborough.ac.uk.